Today, on Be Something Wonderful, the truth about manifesting the same thing. There is no other, only your reality. I am your host, Kearin, and these are the studios of Be Something Wonderful, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, good morning, and welcome back to the studios of Be Something Wonderful. The question came up, what if I'm manifesting the same thing that my friend is manifesting? What if we're manifesting the same specific person, or the same home, or lottery, or car, or anything else? Who wins? Who gets it? Well, we've answered this question in many different ways, but I want to unpack it like we never have before. Remember, in your reality, there is no competition. Why? Because it's your reality. You create the versions of those other points of consciousness. Those other people, places, and events are according to what you assume and believe and define as your reality and who you are. It's all you. It's your reality, unless you create the idea of competition. Remember, you're never manifesting the same person, job, lottery, friends, home, or anything else. You create your reality and others create theirs. But in your reality, the versions of those others that you interact with are according to your assumptions, your beliefs, your definitions of who you are, your reality, and them. It's all you. You get to create it all. There's absolutely no competition. When you assume and decide it and choose it, from that point of already being it, from that conviction and clarity that you're already that person that you desire to be, there's no chance of anyone else winning because it's your reality. I want to show this like we never have before. Here you are, the blue figure, and you have your specific person, the violet, and the friend, the green, the envy, right? Here you are. Well, who wins? Who manifests the house or the specific person? Or the car, or the money, or the lottery, or whatever. You both do, or you both don't. Or there's an infinite number of other possible potential realities, or outcomes, or versions of you and others in your world. And again, when I say that you both do, one of you commented, oh, that's a menage a trois. I'm not talking about that, right? And they had me laughing. In other words, it's your reality. So here you are. Your physical perspective, your physical viewpoint, your reflection of who you are. Here you are. Here's your friend. And here's the specific person. You manifest that specific person. If that's what you want and you define your reality as that's what you see as the truth of who you are, right? That's what's real for you, then you manifest that specific person. But it has absolutely nothing to do with that other point of consciousness creating their own reality. In your reality, you create the reality of either being with them or not being with them, that specific person. And you create a version of that other, your friend, not being with them. But in their reality, in your friend's reality, they get to create what they want. They create the version where they're with that specific person. But you see, it's not the same specific person. It's a different reality. And they create a version of you without it. All those possibilities exist in potential. But this is about your reality, your physical projected experience. There is no other physical projected experience but you. And what you decide, you create those versions of your friend and your specific person, and they do too. But in your reality, that doesn't matter what they're creating, because in your reality, you are reality. There is no other. You are all that is, creating your experience. You see this here. You're never manifesting the same thing. Right? There are infinite versions of you, your world, and therefore, there are infinite versions of the specific person in your friend. So you either you can create where you both do. In other words, it's only you in your reality, your friend's out. Didn't manifest it. But it could be a reality, a potential, where your friend does, but that's not your reality. Or there's a reality where you don't manifest it, that specific person. and neither does your friend. But it's only your reality that matters. And all other possibilities exist. Do you see? This is only potential here. These are only versions of that point of consciousness. You and your reality is what's real. It doesn't mean the people, events, and circumstances are not real. They're reflections. They're just not what they seem. That's what illusion means. They're a reflection of your beliefs, assumptions. If you're standing in front of a physical mirror in your house, if you're real, that reflection's real. It's just not what it seems. It doesn't change from the outside. It changes according to your definitions of who you are, your beliefs, your assumptions of yourself, your reality, and others in your world. Wow, that's powerful. And this is really points to the idea, Neville Goddard's teachings, everybody is you pushed out. And remember, everybody is you pushed out does not mean that on the physical level of experience, right, you creating your physical projection reflection, that you, in other words, the physical experience of you and your reality, you are your friend. It does not mean that you are your friend in that specific person, that they are you. That's not what it means, right? They are not, everyone is you pushed out. They are them and you are you. But the version of them that you interact with is a version that you create according to your assumptions and beliefs about yourself, your reality, and them in your world. That's what that means. Because they are also individualized, personalized personalities of the one source. They're personalities of that one impersonal source. They're personalized, individualized points of consciousness, or I am awareness. In other words, if you are real, your reflected physical experience is real. It's just not what it seems. That's what all the spiritual teachers mean by illusion. It's as you are, not what it seems. But the versions of others in your reality are reflecting your assumptions, your beliefs, and your definitions of you, of them, and of your reality. The illusion is that they are independent of you. That's the illusion. Do you see? That's the illusion. They're not independent of you. Not in your reality. Yes, they're individualized, quote, independent points of consciousness, but it's still one source, all that is. So you, as the center, create your version of them, of those individualized points of consciousness. Very powerful. It's all about you. In other words, everyone is you pushed out in that sense. It's all about your reality, your assumptions, your beliefs, your definitions, your free will. Do you see? It's all about you. You're not influencing or affecting or altering anyone else's reality or free will. You create your reality in the versions of others where their free will matches yours. This is powerful. I've talked about this idea. Remember Max Planck, the famous scientist, said that matter in your physical experience exists and originates by virtue of a force. And we must assume behind that force an intelligent and conscious mind. Wow. That's the one divine mind of the great I am, of God, existence itself. What's the force? You are. You're the force. Behind that, all matter, your physical experience exists by virtue of a force. That's you. The force of your assumptions, your beliefs, and your definitions of who you are as consciousness. Here I am, as Moses answered God. God is being God. There it is. All infinite versions or perspectives of that one divine mind exist. What we might call finite minds. But now we know there are no such thing as finite minds. Only finite experiences of the one divine mind. Only finite experiences or perspectives of that one infinite divine mind. God is being God. God's knowing itself through experience. There's only one thought, one feeling, one energy, that one love. Experiencing itself through infinite perspectives that we call thoughts, feelings, sensations, and images. But there's really only one God, one image, one reality, ultimate reality. You are that force. And behind that force is that one divine mind. That's powerful. So God is being God through you and as you. In as your SP, your specific person, and in as your friend and as others. It's from everybody. From your perspective, here you are. You're the center of all that is, and so isn't everybody else. But in your reality, here you are, you create the versions of those others according to your assumptions and beliefs and viewpoints. It's your world. It's you as all that is, experiencing yourself as all that is. Same with everyone else. There's only one energy, one mind. There it is. You see this? It all gets back to the one. But in your reality, you create the versions of those other points of consciousness. It's not that they're not real, that they don't exist. It's that in your reality, the versions of them are according to you, your beliefs, your reality, your assumptions, your definitions. You as all that is. Wow. Same with your friend. Do you see? You're not manifesting the same specific person because it's your reality. It's guaranteed. There's no competition. No competition in your friend's reality, no competition in your specific person's reality. In other words, your specific person has their own free will, your friend has their own free will, and you have your own free will. What happens then when you manifest a version of your friend in your specific person? You're not going against or influencing them or influencing their thoughts, believing that you're transmitting thoughts and forcing them to do something against their free will. There's only one mind. There's only one thought. There are infinite perspectives of that one thought. You're aligning with that version of them. You're creating that version of them that thinks like you do, that feels like you feel about it. Do you see it? That version of them where their free will matches yours. There are infinite versions with infinite free wills. Wow. I'm not sure I've shown it like this before, but this is powerful. You can go this way or you can go this way. It all leads back to the one divine mind. There's a force, right? That all matter exists by virtue of this force. What is that force? It's you, but what's behind that force? One divine mind. Wow. Very powerful. Each individualized, personalized, in other words, personality of the one impersonal source. That's why they call existence or God impersonal, because it's the combination, it's more than the combination of all personalities, all higher selves. It's greater than all of them. It doesn't have an intent or preference of its own. It's just love, unconditional love. That's its preference. And that's not even a preference, that's what it is. So there's this individualized, personalized, focused point of consciousness. What we call the finite mind is a unique experience, unique experience or reality or version of the one divine mind. Hear it again. Each individualized personality or personalized focused point of consciousness, what we call the finite mind or finite experience, is a unique experience or reality or version of the one divine mind. Creating and experiencing versions of others where their free will matches the free will of those other versions. So you're never altering, influencing, manipulating others or other people's free will. That whole idea of spiritual treason and trespassing and all of that's made up, because you're not influencing any others. You're creating your reality and the versions of them that align and match your free will. And that version of them freely picks you because it's your reality. There are infinite versions of you, your friend, your specific person, others, each with their own unique free will. So as you create your reality, you align with those versions of them that are choosing what you choose. That's all, not the versions that don't. There's only you in your reality and physical experience or reflection. There is no other. In other words, there's no other physical experience or reality. Everything else is potential and you are too. It's only about your physical experience. There are no other physical experiences. That physical version of your friend in your specific person is your reality. It's all the physical versions of them that exist because it's about you. Everything else is just potential. You're the center. You create your past, present, and future in every moment by your definitions, by your assumptions of who you are now. Wow. And your relationship to your reality and others. Wow, that's powerful. So there was another subscriber comment that I wanted to help. It connects with this. And they made a comment on a recent video that we released on our other YouTube channel, @TheTomKearin, if you want to find that on YouTube. It's @TheTomKearin. How I manifest anything I want and how you can too. This was my view. This is how I manifest everything I want. I gave it to you. I gave you the secret, my secret, what I do. But this person asked this question. Well, but both of us, he's talking about a friend, assumed who would win and by how much. They created some sort of competition. Maybe it was a sport or something. And they were making assumptions of who would win and by how much they would win. This person said, I lost while the other won. His friend won. It's my reality, and I should win exactly the result I want. And if the other party wins, it should be his reality. Why am I witnessing his reality? Well, you're not. You're only ever experiencing your own reality. You're only ever experiencing your own energy. You're only ever experiencing your own thoughts. But all of that is one divine mind. That's all one source. So the versions of those others are according to what you say. So first of all, I want to say I agree. You should win and manifest exactly the result you want. But you don't manifest what you want. You manifest who and what you're conscious of being. Sometimes that's what you want. Sometimes it's not. You manifest who and what you say you are. How you define yourself. What you assume about yourself and your reality. Your definitions, your assumptions. That's your entire life experience. Your assumptions and beliefs and definitions of you and your reality. There's no competition in your reality. You created that. It's not his reality. This is your reality. There's a version of him in your reality winning. That's all. And you created that by creating a competition. If you simply said, there's no competition, I win no matter what, you would win. If you stood in that absolute clarity and conviction that I win, it's my reality, there is no competition, there is no other, it can be no other way. Reality responds and yields to your clarity and conviction as source. Always and ever. It does nothing else except respond to that clarity, that conviction of who you say you are in your reality. There's no competition in your reality. You're only ever experiencing your reality and versions of others that reflect what you assume, what you believe, and what you define as true, or the truth of yourself and your reality. Wow. So, and then there was another question. I'm combining a few questions that came up. This other subscriber question was around spiritual advice that they're receiving. That many times when they're countering an unwanted circumstance or thought or sensation, the advice they get, and they were talking, I think they were pointing to the channel or the Facebook group or maybe both, that when others tell them, well, you're not the character. You're not the physical person experiencing those negative conditions. Just remember, you're not the thoughts. You're the character, but you're not the character in the story. Right? You're not that person. And this person goes, well, this doesn't help me at all. Isn't that just another character telling me I'm not the character? And I know in the spiritual realm, in the spiritual circles, it's common to say that. You're not your thoughts. I've even talked about that idea. You're not your thoughts. You're not your perceptions. You're not your feelings. You're not the character in the story or in the movie. But that's incomplete. And that's why this person feels incomplete with it, feels confused. Right? And we understand why we do this. Because we get lost in our experience. So we're trying to make a distinction between the awareness that you are and the experience that you're having. The awareness that you are, I am, versus the experience that you're having, I am that or I am this. I am aware of this or that, but I'm not this or that. Why do we do that? Why do the teachers point to that? Well, it's still incomplete. You got to finish that thought, right? I'm aware of this, but I'm not this or that. Yes, and we do that because you get lost and confused in the experience, or what I've called the messy middle. And you over-identify with the experience. And you believe you're only that experience. You're only that character. That's why we create this idea that when we say you're not the character, you're not the experience. Because you will end up over-identifying with it. So we try to draw a distinction between the two. Between you as I am awareness of being, within which everything has its being and exists, and you, who you really are, right? Your experiences, you as I am awareness, who you really are, and your experiences. But here's the truth. Here's the complete answer. There's no difference between awareness that you are and the experience that you're having. That just creates more separation and limitation. Experience is no different than awareness. It's all one. That's what the ancients were telling us. So what's the key? The answer is you're greater than all of that. Not that you're not that. You are that, but you're much greater than that. Now this person felt much better, right? You're greater than all of it. You're not just that. That's really the message. It was just incomplete. You're much more than that. Right? You're greater than the sum of the parts. You're all of it. It's all one. But you are always and forever greater than anything you experience. Any thought, any feeling, any image, any perception, any memory. You're greater than all of it. Because you're that expansive infinite consciousness, that awareness. You're not different. You're not separate from that experience. You're not separate from that character. Say you're the character. Why not? That's the fun of it. But don't over-identify as that character. Because you are the character. How can someone tell you you're not who you say you are? It's the character telling you you're not a character. Hey, you're not the character, but who's writing that? Who's even saying that? It's another character. That's what we're here to do, but we're here to know that we're much more than that. That's powerful. That's the meaning the ancients were pointing to with this. I and the Father are one. I and the field of consciousness, the field of awareness, are one. The physically focused me, the character, all those other experiences are one. Thoughts, the feelings, the people, events, and circumstances are all one. Do you see it? They're all one. But the Father is greater than I am. In other words, I'm greater than any version of me, version of reality, appearance of thoughts, feelings, images, perceptions, and circumstances. The Father, or the field of awareness, which you are, is greater than any of that. There was a great scene in The Chosen, that TV show that I often point to and talk about on this channel and on the Tom Kearin channel, where Jesus is talking to one of his disciples, John. And Jesus was going to do a reading from Scripture. And he's asking John, what do you think? What do you think I should do? What do you think I should read? John goes, well, how could I? Right? John was feeling that he was not worthy to tell Jesus what he should read. And Jesus goes, well, what is worthiness? Hey, what are you talking about? What is worthiness? And then John goes, well, you're surely worthy, right? And what does Jesus say to him as I am awareness? John, I'm a man, John. I'm a physically focused perspective. I'm a character in the play, in other words. I'm still that, yes. Yet, I am who I am. Wow, it's such a powerful scene. I'm a man, John, yet I am who I am. In other words, you're not just that character. Yes, you're that character. So someone saying you're not the character is just incomplete. Yet I am who I am. In other words, I am the Father of one. That Father is greater than me. That field's greater than me, but I'm one with it. I'm much more than any experience, any character. Wow, or any version of me or reality or anybody else. That's the truth about manifesting the same thing. There is no other, only your reality. I am your host, Tom Kearin, And these are the studios of Be Something Wonderful, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creatives, thank you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for checking out the Tom Kearin channel. Big videos are being dropped on that channel. And we have a live event coming this Sunday on the Be Something Wonderful membership channel. Join us. This is where I answer your questions. This is your opportunity, right, to where I can answer your questions live while you ask them. Creators, with great love, with great light and infinite gratitude, this is Tom Kearin here in the studios of Be Something Wonderful. Until next time, we'll see you soon.